Hello. Hi, good morning. If you are in Europe, and good afternoon if you are in Asia. I hope you are doing well and healthy during this time. And welcome to our third webinar of this new series on trends and challenges during COVID in regards to investments. I am Miguel Figueroa from UNWTO. I will be helping you in this webinar. And just to jump into it, the webinar is focused on the assumption of how can we support our member states in order to recover during this pandemic in regards to investments. And we were trying to talk with different members, and we received a lot of requests on how can we support them during this time. For that purpose, we start these webinars, and we of course are partnering with the FDI Intelligence with the Financial Times, and we decided to share and open different tools for digital tools to strengthen the strategies that you maybe currently have in your countries, and also strategize how can we do it better. And this webinar has three components. First will be having like a presentation from Natalia Bayona, who is the Director of Innovation, Education, and Investments at the UNWTO. She will be giving like some insights and data on this first part. Then we have a second part of the presentation for FDI, and we will be showing some demos of the platforms that Sarah kindly agreed to share with us, and it will give us some great insights on how we can apply this to our country member states. And the last part, which is the most important, we will be touching some questions that the participants might have. We already received other questions by email, so I will be sharing that. So I will highly encourage if you could please ask your questions in the section of the Q&A down below in your screens. So we will actually be gathering that information, and we will be sharing with the speakers at the end of the conversation. So that's everything from my end. Welcome. I will hand it over to Harry, who is the Director for Asia Pacific at the UNWTO. Harry.
Well, thank you, Miguel, and dear friend and colleague. Very good afternoon and good evening from sunny Madrid, and welcome to our first regional meeting for this year, that is UNWTO online consultation session on tourism investment trend and challenges post-COVID-19 for Asia and the Pacific. And first of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Natalia Bayona, and who is Director for Innovation, Education, and Investment Department, in partnership with the Financial Times, for offering this exclusive session for our members in Asia and the Pacific. So we all know how devastating the COVID-19 pandemic has been for our industry, and one of the areas reflecting this catastrophic impact of the pandemic is for sure investment in the tourism sector. And according to the Financial Times, my colleague, in global terms, the foreign direct investment in tourism dropped to an all-time low of 73.2% during the first half of 2020 in comparison with the same period in 2019. Consequently, the tourism sector lost around 910 billion to 1.2 trillion in export revenue in 2020. And this translated into around 100 to 120 million direct tourism jobs at risk. In the case of the Asia and the Pacific region, the tourism investment attracted into the region fared significantly, with project numbers dropping by approximately 70% from 81 to 25. So this is very significant if we consider that tourism investment attracted into the Asia Pacific region peaked in 2018 when 195 projects were announced, representing $29 billion in capture investment and more than 50,000 jobs. So having said that, the huge decline in tourism investment and its impact on job creation is the main reason why my colleague Natalia's IEI department at UNWTO has prioritized the investment as one of our key areas of focus after the pandemic as we advance toward economic recovery. So dear friend and colleagues, I'm very pleased that my colleague at IEI department have joined hands with one of key partners, Financial Times, FDI Intelligence, and their expertise in the field of tourism investment will certainly help you to understand the practical digital tool that you need to attract the foreign direct investment for your tourism enterprises. So we invite all of you, therefore, to take full advantage of this technical forum to seek further clarification and to get better insight and idea on tourism investment from my colleague Natalia and Sarah Rusli from the Financial Times. So I thank you all for joining this important consultation exercise and for your strong support, and wish you all a very engaging and productive session. And thank you.
Thank you, Harry. As Natalia joined to the webinar, just to emphasize a couple of things. This, for the people who are still connecting, this webinar is the purpose of this webinar is to provide you some insights on the impact of COVID on investments during this time. And just for you to know, and as you will see in a second with Natalia, the impact of COVID-19 in the tourism sector was very, very hard. It almost hit like 75% decline on investments in the sector. And that has a correlation with the decrease in the demand, because as you know, tourism is a heavily labor-intensive activity, and the value chain of the tourism sector is just incredible. And in the same time, the impact was very bad to the sector. So the idea of this webinar for the people who are joining is to understand those trends and to see the impact, but also most importantly to see how can we facilitate different digital tools provided by the FDI intelligence from the Financial Times in the short term, so you actually can improve your strategy of the countries. And in the medium long term, how can we as UNWTO support your strategy as we develop this together? There are different questions that we have received, and I'm glad that you're already asking questions. And of course, most of the questions are related of how can we do this in the short term, and how can we use these platforms that Sarah kindly will show in a second. We already sent different emails, and we provide you with the links so you can connect and you can request these demos. And the other set of questions is or are related to the strategies. Like some people are saying, we have a current strategy. Can you help us to facilitate and develop a strategy to attract and safeguard investments on the countries on the daily basis? So the other thing I want to bring your attention is that if you have specific questions, please drop it in the Q&A section so we can actually consolidate that and ask to the speakers as they connect and they answer. I will pass it to Natalia if she's ready. Natalia, can you?
Yes, Miguel, Natalia just announced me that she's joining in 1 minute. She's having some issues,
Okay,
but
perfect.
she will be joining in 1 minute, okay?
Thanks. Natalia, you're in mute, by the way.
She's having some issues rejoining from her computer. I'm helping her with the link. Okay, just 1 second. My apologies.
Okay, I think she's having some problems. We can start maybe showing her presentation, Tijana. Okay, as Natalia connects, I apologize for the technical problems. We received almost 280 participants for this webinar. And we already received 16 questions already. That is good. But just for the ones that are connecting, most of the questions are, of course, related to how can we improve our strategies to attract and safeguard investments during this time, and how these tools from the Financial Times will help us to develop a stronger strategy as we try to go back to normality. And we already have 2 other webinars for Latin American, and we another webinar also was open to everybody, and we have really good insights on this regard. Okay, I think Natalia is connected. Let me pass it to her.
Sorry for the delay, but I had some technological problems, so I don't know why. Believe it or not, as Director of Innovation and Investments, but I couldn't be able to join as panelists, but lucky us, we are here today. So let's run the presentation. And of course, as you know, investments and as Harry, as our director, join us, it's very important to us to empower green investments as part of this tourism recovery. And of course, some of the facts that we already spoke about is that, of course, pre-COVID times, there was an amazing data regarding the tourism evolution. So, of course, we were one of the most important economic sectors regarding growth. So of course we had 1.5 billion tourists. We have 4% growth. 1 per 10 people were working in tourism. So of course, like the macroeconomic data regarding investments were crucial in order to promote investments. And of course, the foreign direct investment flows were not only speedy, but also they were developing a lot of interesting projects that, of course, joining this with innovation were part, of course, of a very interesting methodology in terms of economic growth. So in the next slide, of course, we can see that, of course, the tourism sector fell, of course, down. And I have to say in the next slide that of course, tourism failed almost 80%. This is the most affected sector by far. And as you know, no one can say in another sector that, of course, they have been fallen down by 74%. So this is crucial. We have more than 100 million jobs under risk. Of course, here we have the same challenges that we had in the past. The thing is that they have been accelerated. So of course, education, innovation, green investments, and sustainability today are crucial if we want the tourism recovery. So on the next slide, of course, what we can see is what I told you. We were growing up in terms of tourism, but of course, last year was a historic year in terms, of course, of decreasing all the performance that we will that we were developing in the past. So of course, you can see here how we develop an evolution of about at least 20 years ago. So on the next slide, of course, we can see what I told before. So of course, if we talk about decreasing the sector, foreign direct investment have to be affected as well. So of course, as we all know, because of the insecurity regarding the way we would travel again, adding the lockdown and adding all the strong challenges that we had during the last year. Of course, this was like the final result. So as you know, foreign direct investment has to be focused on places where, of course, there have political stability, where there's a strong business environment, where, of course, governments and where the economic sector, of course, is booming. So, of course, in a sector where we were facing a decrease in not only in growth of the number of tourists, but also a decrease in the income and on the economic performance, of course, it affects foreign direct investment. So you can see that it's almost the same, minus 73.9% was the decrease on international arrivals, but you can see the red bar where minus 73% regarding the decrease of foreign direct investment. So of course, today the challenge is huge because of course, if we want this bar to become green again and at least to have new foreign direct investment flows, of course, governments need to work a lot to improve their business, doing business indicators, and of course, to help and to improve and to develop strong incentives to recover the sector, and of course, to give that positiveness environment to developers, private equity, venture capital, etc., that of course will be really interested to rebound tourism again. Nonetheless, the challenge is huge because of course they need to see that the sector is open again. So on the next slide, we can see as well an overview about the foreign direct investments. So you can see the drop of last year, minus $48 billion were not invested. Nonetheless, as China and America are the two biggest countries regarding investments and regarding innovation, I have to say that when you see the whole perspective of investment flows, they are really concentrated, and besides COVID-19, foreign direct investment have been concentrated as well in China and in the US. So before COVID-19, one of the main challenges that we had inside the UNWTO was to diversify the concentration of foreign direct investment flows from those two countries and to spread to different countries, to spread to Asia Pacific, to spread to Africa, to spread to Latin America. But of course, the challenge is still the same. But as I already said, this challenge has been accelerated because, of course, today the economic indicators are different, and of course, the legal environment is absolutely different. On the other side, I have to say that, of course, after China and the US, the other hotspots before COVID-19 regarding foreign direct investment were Australia, of course, India, of course, Mexico, of course, and the Europeans, because as you know, Europe concentrates 50% of the international tourism arrivals. So of course, investing in France, in the UK, in Germany, in Spain is part of the foreign direct environment in the tourism sector. So with that said, of course, we can say if we see the flows from 2015 until the 2019, we can see that, of course, the flows were stronger, and that, of course, 2018 was one of the most important years in terms of bringing into life foreign direct investment on the tourism sector. So I have to say that this challenge is still booming today, and it's of course in our hands and in the hands of the institutions and in the hands of the governments, the way how public policy and new governmental incentives can make us to reassure confidence and security in order to rebound those investment flows as we were experiencing during the past years. So of course, we can see here, but then Sarah will talk a little bit more on the matter. But the top 10 countries are measured in terms of investment by the number of projects of greenfield or brownfield projects that they are developing. So of course, once again, if we see this map, the blue and the gray colors are the top hotspots. So here the challenge is huge because, as you can see, foreign direct investment is concentrated, and our job here today is at least to diversify a little bit those investment flows into a more sustainable, innovative, and of course, modern sector. So on the next slide, we can see that, of course, I am not going to be hyper detailed on this, but look at the ranking. That was what I was trying to say before regarding the top destinations that are France, Spain, US, China. If you cross these top hot destinations with the last slide that I shared, they have parallelism because, of course, they have a more mature tourism sector. So, of course, that improve foreign direct investment flows. Nonetheless, we need to improve these kind of flows on emerging markets. When we talk about the ranking focused on the most affected countries regarding COVID-19, you can see that this is really dispersed. Nonetheless, look how curious it is. The only top hotspot that was really affected was Spain. If you see this ranking, Jamaica, that is an island, Thailand, Croatia, Dominican Republic, Morocco, Mauritius, Senegal were a part of the top most affected countries, but look that they are not the most powerful countries regarding tourism. So here, once again, the challenge is huge, because we need not only to recover confidence to open borders again, but also to recover economic confidence to bring investment flows to the mature markets, but of course to these more affected countries that of course need the power of investments to recover the economy again. And of course, in terms of employment, it's a little bit similar. As I already said, 100 million jobs are under risk. So you can see here that once again, emerging countries are the more affected countries in terms of this pandemic. So on the next slide, of course, we have some trends and some facts and figures that we want to share with you. So on the next slide, you can see this is, of course, part of our new reality. And of course, that's clear to everybody. And becoming digital, if before we had a very interesting trend on becoming digital, today, 100% of our lives, thanks to the lockdown, became digital. So with that said, digital education, digital investments, everything through digital platforms have a lot of power, because that's the way to improve the economy, and of course to be still communicating the different things that each destination has. So if I were working in foreign direct investment, as I did 7 years ago for my country, I can assure you that using digital strategies, then Sarah will talk to you a little bit about the platform that FT has regarding foreign direct investment. But here my message is, we need to improve digital communication in order to improve the way investors knows about the new projects and about the new technologies and about the new regulations, and to have the updated info of every single country in order to make investors' life easier. Authenticity, of course, things going local are important, but of course, these joined with sustainability, the way we use renewable energies inside the hotels, the way waste management is a priority in order to work better inside amusement parks, inside the hotels, etc. Have a lot of force, everything regarding climate change, food waste, etc. Of course, the experience, of course, transparency, of course, everything has to be more short, and the frequency of the things that we do. I have to say that today, Miguel told us a bit about the importance of green investments. And I have to say that when we did a survey last year with our investment framework and with our investment network, I have to say that 50% of the investors that were working with us told us that they were really interested on keeping their investments in the tourism sector. Nonetheless, they were super clear to us, and they told us that they wanted to still invest, but working in two type of or on three type of solutions. The first solution focused on environmental and climate change solutions or projects. Second of all, everything that is related to environment, social impact, and last but not least, everything that is related to climate change, governance, and of course, the way we are transparent with others. So this is a key message, because it's not only about these trends that I'm talking to you today. It's about as well about developing new opportunities and to bring these new opportunities to investors in order to change the investment and the tourism model. So on the next slide, what we can see is that, of course, today I am super glad to talk with you and to discuss a little bit of what we are doing with the Financial Times. As you know, Financial Times to us, it's an amazing collaborator, and we are happy to collaborate with them, with FDI, Foreign Direct Investment Intelligence, that is the part of data analytics of the Financial Times, because we think that more than ever, we would like to promote inside the member states everything that is related to data analytics, and of course to provide you insights and practical strategies to rebound the investment flows for your markets, for your regions, for your destinations. And of course, as you know, it is quite important to us to launch this collaboration in order to develop a faster recovery and to help to create a strong message full of economic security, health security, of course, institutional security, but with that said, with a message about developing a more modern, sustainable, and of course, inclusive tourism sector. So with that said, I would like to thank all of you to be here today. I would like to thank to Harry once again as the director of our Department of Asia Pacific, to Miguel. He is my partner in crime regarding investments. Thanks to him, we are here organizing this. And I would like to give the floor to Sarah, that is our partner from Financial Times, that will encourage you and will involve you in the digital platforms and on the digital services that the Financial Times has to offer in order to rebound tourism again. So thanks a lot. And the floor is yours, Sarah. And once again, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Let me actually share my screen with you all. I'm going to put that in full screen mode. Miguel, can you tell me if you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. First of all, everywhere, anywhere you are in the world, I hope you are all well in those difficult times. My name is Sarah Rassis. I work for FDI Intelligence, the division of the Financial Times specialized in foreign direct investment data and economic development solutions. And this year, FDI Intelligence is actually celebrating its 20 years anniversary, and we continue to adapt our economic development solutions to this ever-changing world of FDI we live in, so that you can continue to attract smart investments in a smart way to your locations. Now, with this COVID-19 crisis, ministries of tourism, IPAs, economic development agencies, government bodies and entities had to initiate digitalization for investment promotion and investment attraction. And that's what we're going to see right now through exploring 3 digital economic development solutions for you. Fdi Markets Cross-Border Investment Monitor, Fdi Benchmark, which is a benchmarking tool for your location's competitiveness, and Zoom Tour, which is your online virtual tour. So as you would have gathered from what Natalia, Miguel, and Harry said, you're able to request a free trial access to Fdi Markets and Fdi Benchmark, which are databases that you will access through a login and password. For Zoom Tour, which is a software as a service, it's slightly different. There is no trial as such, but only a free setup call or demo call where we explain to you how we can set your location up. Of course, there is a cost to Zoom Tour if you decide to go ahead with that, but the cost and the price is actually a very affordable one. And we can discuss that when we talk together on the call. So don't hesitate to send your request for the free trials and demos through the links that Miguel will share with you. So we're going to start with Fdi Markets, the red one. Fdi Markets is your investment tracking tool. What Fdi Markets does is that it tracks greenfield investments worldwide in all sectors, including the tourism sector, but also all related sectors. What you see on the screen here, and I hope it's actually big enough, but let me zoom in a little bit, is basically what you're going to be able to see in your trial access, with a few exceptions, which I'm going to explain today. So in Fdi Markets, for example, you're going to be able to create a search that tells you about FDI in the tourism industry in Asia Pacific, for example. And then the system will show you the investment projects that are happening in your region, that have started, that happened, and also future investments, which we call investor signals, which are intentions to invest. So for example, a company from the United States saying, I would like to go to Vietnam in whatever sector they want to invest in. This information will be in Fdi Markets. So on the left-hand side here, you will see all the recent projects and signals. Something to remember is that the signals, which is very valuable information, is not available in the trial. However, it is important to know that this actually exists in this Fdi Markets tool, which is a lead generation tool as well as a FDI trends analysis tool. So you're going to still be able to see the main FDI trends in the tourism industry at the moment, post-COVID-19. What is it that investing companies are actually planning to do? Are they raising funds to actually invest later on in leisure parks and stuff like that? In the middle, you will see three main variables, which is the number of investment projects that they are planning to do, the CapEx, which is the capital investment, how much are they planning to invest in your location, and the number of jobs created. Are they planning to create 100, 1,000 jobs? How many jobs have they created in the past year while it was this big crisis? And on the right-hand side, you will see the leading companies. So which companies are actively investing still during COVID-19 and which ones are looking to invest. So let me just zoom out. Just to continue on that front, here is an example of an intention to invest. So the investor signals that I talked about before tells you here, this company, Genesis Global, in March, which is this month, an investor signal has been identified for Genesis Global from the UK going into Asia Pacific in the software and IT services sector. So this company announced that. And then there is a bit of details about what they want to do. So this UK-based Genesis Global company is a technology platform that helps financial institutions to build new applications. They raised $45 million in funding, and they're going to use that, they say, to expand into international markets, such as Asia Pacific. Then you would have details about the contacts, what type of projects they want to do, and things like that. This one is quite general because it's the whole of Asia Pacific, but you could have other ones that actually say, I want to go to Japan, or I want to go to Vietnam, I want to go to the Maldives. And then you read the description of the actual project, what they want to do. And this is the type of information you would get in the investor signals feature in Fdi Markets. So really, Fdi Markets is something that can help you to understand the very latest FDI trends, not only in the tourism industry, but in all related areas in your particular region, as well as in the whole world and in the neighboring countries, for instance. Within the trial, in the help button, you will see that you have video tutorials, and that is very helpful because you can actually learn how to use the main sections of the database, although the database is very user-friendly, as you will see it. So that's the first tool, which is Fdi Markets. Moving on to Fdi Benchmark. So it's kind of complementary, if you like, to Fdi Markets, in the sense that once you've identified the companies, once you've identified the trends, you want to know more about the strength and the weaknesses of your location compared to others in the tourism industry, as well as related sectors. And that's what Fdi Benchmark can do for you. So Fdi Benchmark is a benchmarking tool that's going to help you to assess the competitiveness and the attractiveness of your location compared to others in a specific sector. So here on the screen, what you see is a comparison of Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, South Korea in a hotel sector. I chose to have that profile in Fdi Benchmark. And here, as you can see at the bottom of the slide, it shows you the criteria that investing companies from around the world would look at when choosing to locate in your country, region, or city. For example, the industry cluster. What is the size of the tourism industry there? How are you performing in terms of tourism investment attraction? The general business environment in red here is very important for investors. The living environment, if they come with their families and things like that, I mean, what is it that they're going to find on site? The infrastructure, super important, and the labor availability and quality. If I am an investor investing in a hotel project in, let's say, Indonesia, I want to know if I'm going to have the labor force available for that particular project. So you're going to be able to see things like that in Fdi Benchmark. Something that is important to know about Benchmark is that there are more than 900 locations in Fdi Benchmark, including cities, regions, and countries. Not the whole world is included because it's a system that's built on demand, but it doesn't mean that if you don't see your location, that it cannot be added. So during the trial, don't be worried if you don't see your location, just ask us if this is something that could be added, and then we can discuss options together. If we just continue on that, in Fdi Benchmark, there's also the costs. Total operating cost. This is super important to investing companies. The companies that want to make an investment want to know how much is going to cost them to operate a hotel project, for example, or something else that is related to tourism. So here on the screen, what you see is a comparison in a hotel project of the total operating cost. So typically in green here, you've got the labor cost mainly. You would also see utility cost, but it would cost me less in Indonesia than in South Korea. I can see that here we are in euros actually here, but we could change that to another currency. So it helps me to understand that and to present that also to the location. Fdi Benchmark can also be used for policy making, because during this COVID-19 crisis, a lot of locations actually reflected on, okay, what it is that we are doing well and where could we improve something? And Fdi Benchmark can help you do that, understand the attractiveness, the competitiveness compared to other locations. On the screen here, you see the attractiveness index in terms of quality and cost, how each country on that particular slide is comparing to the other ones in terms of cost and quality. So that's Fdi Benchmark. Again, this is the free trial that you can ask. This is a 2-week trial, and please don't hesitate to contact me directly, Sarah or Miguel, to ask for that trial. Moving on to the final tool, Zoom Tour. So Zoom Tour is your virtual online tour software. It's software as a service. And Zoom Tour is going to help you to create online virtual tours for your location. Literally at the click of a button, you're going to be able to put your story on a map. And that is super important at the moment, especially during COVID-19. That's actually a tool, a platform, an app that was created during COVID, actually, the end of last year. And this is proving very successful because why? The main reason is that it's visually appealing and everything that you put in Zoom Tour is adaptable, editable on a real-time basis. And I will show you some examples so that you understand exactly what I mean here. So at the click of a button, you're going to be able to put the story of your location on a map with pictures, text, videos, Google Street Views, 360-degree views, Google Street Views, etc. And that is so easy to do. Zoom Tour is very important to know, is all designed to be self-service, which means that any help is done through our help center, which is online. It's very complete and it gives you advice, or not advice, but the best practices to actually market your Zoom Tour. It gives you best practices on strategic placement in your e-newsletters, on your social media and things like that. And that is very, very current and what you need to do right now. So let me actually show you some examples of how Zoom Tour can be used. I'll show you some examples right after, but what you see on the screen here is obviously in the middle, tourism. Zoom Tour can be used for pure tourism activities, what you want to showcase about your location. So touristic places, art, restaurants, culture, and things like that. But there's plenty more that you can do with Zoom Tour. You can pretty much showcase anything that you want to showcase about your location to the world. Like, for example, film locations. And I'll show you an example right after. Film locations, if you want to know where this film was shot in Singapore, you're going to be able to see that on Zoom Tour. Or new developments, new hotels, new real estate, new industrial space, leisure parks, new railways, roads, whatever you have that is developing in your location, you can map and showcase in Zoom Tour. Also, one thing to remember for Zoom Tour is that your imagination is actually the master here. So let's go and explore some example. Let me just go on the internet here. And here you should be able to see NISA. NISA is the South Carolina, let me put that aside. NISA is the South Carolina region in the United States. You can see it here with the frontiers. And that is actually their Zoom Tour. So each number that you see here is a stop, okay? You can create as many stops as you want. And this is the experience that you have with the NISA Zoom Tour. It says on the left-hand side, welcome to the NISA region, the middle of everywhere. We are pleased to give you a brief tour of the NISA region. Take the tour by clicking the arrows below, or explore the region on your own by navigating the map and clicking on any of the numbers you see. There's a little bit of audio that they put there, which is exactly what I read before, but it's just a bit more interactive for the visitor. So if I click on next, actually, how do I move this? Here, sorry. If I click here, I have the first stop in South Carolina. What do I see when I click on the first stop? I have this 360 degrees view of the Center of Commerce on the East Coast. So really, as an investor, any visitor to my Zoom Tour here, I can actually portray myself there and imagine myself there. I can see exactly what it looks like, which is very, very important right now because people are traveling much less than before. And until we can travel again, it's very important that people get access to information online in a visually appealing way. So I've got this 360 view, fine. But then what's becoming powerful with Zoom Tour is that you can add data, URL, PDFs that are going to be complete what you put on the screen here. So here I have my South Carolina region. I can see the population. It's about 800,000 people. I can see the age distribution on the right-hand side. The population growth. How is it evolving over time? The educational level. Is it bachelor degree, graduate, etc.? The labor force. The talent that I have. The businesses and jobs. So what are the top industries by jobs? The income and spending, and much more. This is what they decided to put in their Zoom tour again. I can obviously add some pictures if I want to. And when I click on the next one here, I just get more information about here. The fact that the South Carolina region is midway between New York and Miami. And then they explain here on the left-hand side what it is exactly. All of that is shareable, as you can see here, on social media straight away. So it's a simple URL that you can see here, tours.zoomprospector.com/NISA, would be /Vietnam, /Thailand, /whatever you want to have here. And then you can share that on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You can share that on your e-newsletter, on your website, and things like that. And again, the Help Center with all the best practices in terms of marketing can help you do that. So that's one example for South Carolina region. Obviously, you can showcase things about your infrastructure. You can have drones view. If you have videos that have been created in the drone sphere, you can use that, you upload that, and in one click, it's over there already. So this is the little drone that you can see here in the middle. And if I click on here, it's just going to zoom in and show me exactly what it looks like here. So all the marketing collateral, all the documents that you have, the data that sometimes are a bit of everywhere, you can put that in one place now in a really visually appealing way. Let me show you another example. I talked about the film locations at the very beginning, because this one is the Zoom tour of a city in British Columbia in Canada. They chose to have Zoom tour just for promoting and showcasing their film locations. So what you see on the left is a list of the production that were filmed there, you know, My Best Friend Bouquet, whatever. And here what you can see is the place where the film was shot. So again, you can click on each stop and see exactly where the actors and actresses were shooting their scene, really. If I click on the actual film, I can see the picture here and some extract of the film itself. So that was their goal, and they choose Zoom Tour to promote that particular industry. Of course, I can go on, and here you've got another Zoom Tour for UMA Economic Development Corporation, which is located between Arizona and Mexico. And so here, what they're doing is that they're promoting their local businesses, which are those companies here. So here there's this company called Sarah's Farms. You can see exactly how it looks like on here. And on the left-hand side, I've got the description of that particular company with hyperlinks that link to the UMA Economic Development Center, etc. And I can click on the next stop, and that's another company here. So here you can see on the left, it's Allmark Foods. And in 2016, they were in search of a new site to process 2 million boiled eggs daily. And so they chose to go there. So it's just showcasing the story of your location here with whatever information you have available. Another example here is for Ohio in the States. So this one is going to show you the land that is available in your location with 360 view tour. So let me just click on the next one. So any site, any land, any industrial park that you would like to showcase, you can put that here. So this is very realistic, and that is actually very important. And actually, Natalia touched upon that. You need to be realistic and showcase what really is happening in your location, so that investing companies, but also people interested in your location, can imagine themselves there making the investment, and also just for them to have access to accurate information, which is key right now. So here what you see is that distribution center that is available for, is the perfect, it says it's the perfect location to your expansion or relocation project. So basically they're showcasing what is available in terms of space. And again, what you can do is click on the data part here, and it will show you some data about that particular location. Also, if I click on stop number 5, you can showcase things about the mobile workforce unit that you would have in your location. So each location has different things to show, which is the beauty of that. You can really showcase what's unique to your location. Here, this is mobile workforce unit, 360 view, and people can work there. Just amazing to know that. Really amazing. And if I go on stop number 7, I can see exactly where the airport is and things like that on the map. And the workforce available as well. Let me just go to this example here. I'm not sure it's that one. Let's see. This one is the industrial park. So really with Zoom Tour, the message is that it's endless, and all of that is very easy to build, and I will show you how to do that. So the way it looks in the back end is like that. Let me share my screen again. That one. Okay. So Zoom Tour, again, is a software as a service, and we provide you the box, and the content is all yours. So the way it works is you've got different sections, as you can see at the top of the screen: general, street view, custom tour, gallery, and data. It is self-guided, so you go in general, you would put the introduction to whatever you want to showcase for your location. The street view, it works with Google Maps, so you can basically enter the address of what you want to showcase, click OK, save, and it's already there on the map. The custom tour, which are basically where you put any URL that is existing that you want to share, and then everything will appear on Zoom Tour. The gallery will showcase any images, any videos that you want to have, and the data section is all about data as well. Once you enter all the information, you click save, then basically you will land on your Zoom Tour, which is really ready in a couple of clicks. And the beauty of that is that you can edit, adapt, remove, add as you go along, whenever you want. And you can share that anywhere on the internet, in your e-newsletter and things like that. What I wanted to show you to finish is this. The Zoom Tour tips, tricks, and best practices. This is super important if you're looking to know, okay, how is it that I'm going to build this Zoom Tour? What do I need to do to attract investors and promote my locations and do investment promotion with that? You are going to be guided through the help center here on how to explain the theme of your tour, link it to your website, to your social media channels, creating stops that keep visitors engaged, etc. And you also have that section, which is about frequently asked questions about Zoom Tour. So what kind of content can I include? And it will show you that you can put 3D rotation, Google Street View, map views, etc. So, and obviously we're always here at the Financial Times to help you, but it's all designed to be self-service, and that's really useful for you. Just to finish on that, so that was Zoom Tour, just showing you how the trial would look for Fdi Markets and Benchmark. This is the database, and you can just go through each tab here, as I showed you at the very beginning. And FDI Benchmark will look like that. So it's the same thing. You log in with a username and password, and it looks like this. So here I was comparing Malaysia and Vietnam, for example, and in a hotel sector, hotel project. So that's how it would look like, and you just go and explore. And same thing, it's quite user-friendly. But again, what we can do is arrange a quick online demo before you log on to that so that you make full use of the free trial. So I guess that's that from me, Miguel. Thank you very much for listening all.
Thank you, Sarah. Was very clear, and there's a lot of information and tools that we can use. So I have a lot of questions. And of course, as you can expect, the questions are all over, and there's a range of different questions, right? So I try to summarize them in two levels. So if you allow me. So the first one here from some people from Vietnam and from Maldives, which are similar questions. They say, like, what are the main priorities for investments after this or during this COVID-19 pandemic? And I can take that really fast. I mean, there are different questions I'm trying to gather, right? But the main priorities, I mean, there are different proposals on that, and there is, of course, the short term, the middle term, and the long term. In the short terms, as you all know, the main priority right now is the liquidity regarding the SMEs and the value chain that involved in the tourism, which is really amazing how they have been affected by it. In the medium term, of course, is the frameworks for investments. How can we, as UNWTO, and how the governments can actually develop frameworks to enable these investments to happen and to safeguard current investments, but also to promote other investments during this time. So that is a combined effort between the government, the private sector, the multilateral cooperation, and so forth and so on. And in the long term, as Natalia was sharing before, one of the main things that we are promoting from the UNWTO is the green investments. This pandemic, besides the impacts that, of course, are very obvious, has accelerated the process to green transitions. And we believe that's a huge opportunity to develop different frameworks and different mechanisms for greening, for retrofitting current infrastructure, current assets that are being impacted, and they are perhaps with restrictions and they are closed. So it's a big opportunity, and there's a lot of different projects and facilities that we are working actually with IFC, with the World Bank. And one of the main regions that we are focusing is Southeast Asia, actually. So that is another conversation, but we'll be providing you with more information for another webinar on that specific topic. But to summarize that part, the priorities are in the short-term liquidity and the strengthening of the value chain with the tourism sector. And the medium short term is how to enable these frameworks for safeguard investments and also to attract and promote different investments. And in the long term, the green finance. Then the other questions that you were answering as you were speaking, because they asked these questions before your intervention, are like, how can we leverage these digital platforms to promote FDIs? I think you did a really good job on that. And then the other questions are how, these are the broad questions, right? How developing countries can use these frameworks to enable them to attract new investors to small countries after the COVID. There is not one answer for all of these questions, right? One size fits all, but it depends. I usually don't like that answer when it says it depends, but it depends of the government and the strategy and the priorities that you as country have, and the governance and so forth and so on. But we provided, like last year, for instance, a webinar on that, like what are the frameworks that will enable, that strategy, and then you can actually prioritize the value proposition from your country. And that's why the tools like Sarah was sharing, like the benchmark, for instance, like if you are promoting one specific location and you have a specific value proposition for your country, is that enough? I mean, attractive enough compared with other countries that are next door to you or in your area? So that's where these tools help you to do the benchmark on this matter, and it actually will help you to facilitate a different positioning, right, in front of the investors as well, because sadly, also there's a lot of countries that are competing for the same investors, right? So the ones that are better off are the ones that are positioning better, but also the ones that create more value, and they are able to show that in their strategy and in their competitiveness and all the frameworks that they offer and the incentives for the investors. So those are kind of like the broad questions. Then I also received some questions by email that are asking related questions to the platforms itself. They are saying, for instance, how many projects can we upload in the Zoom platform? Like how many, locations? Because they are asking one. I mean, there's another question where one is related to, can we upload projects, and can we upload also information about destinations, for instance?
Yes, you can. I mean, then it's a question of how you present it, but it's kind of, it is unlimited number of stops. Obviously, if you have 100 stops, I mean, I'm not sure that everybody will want to go through each of the 100, but you can create several tours. And that's something that we can explain for sure during the call. But yes, that is possible. So it depends on what you want to showcase again.
Yeah. Then there's another question here from India, and it says, with all these tools and the information, do you have any suggestions to diversify investments in an effective way to the development of the tourism? That's a broad question again. Do you have any other case that you maybe come across when you are promoting these platforms that you see, like the diversification part? For instance, in my end from the UNWTO, we did a lot of research on the flows of the investments on travel tech and mobility. For instance, there is an increase in, even with the report that we do with the Financial Times, there is like 35 or 32% of the investments that are coming from the digital investors, right? So there are different platforms that they are, I wouldn't say migrating their investments, but it's growing, right? So there are travel tech startups that are growing increasingly in these 10 years. And surprisingly, the last year, even though that we have the pandemic and the decrease of investments, the amount of money that was invested in the travel tech and mobility sector almost increased, like in 20%. So that is a huge part of diversification. And from the trends that Natalia was sharing, for instance, one of the big trends is green. So when we talk with people from Booking or Expedia, for instance, they say that there is more people asking for hotels or for destinations that have a green label. So that is kind of like a demand for these green services and offerings. And that kind of gives you a glimpse of where these, diversification or where these potential growth spots are. The other big potential for diversification and to increase tourism inflows are related to rural tourism and local tourism. There is a lot of new, I wouldn't say new, but the next big thing to start, just before to start the travel again, will be local. People be traveling locally. And we are also promoting that. Because there's a lot of questions as well that I want to ask you later, but just to tie into this, that are related to ecotourism and to local tourism. How can we use these platforms to promote, local destinations and ecotourism as well? So I know it's very broad, but I'm trying to condense everything. Otherwise, it would be impossible to answer all of these questions.
Actually, sorry, Miguel, if I can just,
I want to ask you.
Sorry, just talking about this, green and ecotourism and things like that. I think just by using that kind of digital tool, we already respond to that question of, okay, we're going eco-friendly here because, you know, people are traveling less and we're trying to promote our location through a digital tool that later on, obviously, people will travel. They will be able to go on site, but maybe it's a way of saving the planet in a way and to make smarter investments in the future, you know, like by digitalizing some of the services that we use for investment promotion. That's just the point that I wanted to raise here.
Yeah, it's a good point. Can you like maybe explain a little bit just to tie off these questions that are coming related to the leverage of these tools? For instance, last year we did a webinar actually with you to enable these frameworks, right? Most of the people usually, there's a lot of questions that I am trying to avoid, but what I want to also honor those questions. I had like 7 questions asking like, can you provide us investors for our countries, and can you provide and facilitate a list of investors, which everybody asked that, right? But to honor those and to give you a nice answer, and also you can help me with that. It depends, but also it highly depends of your strategy, right? So if you have a strong strategy, your country or your region or your city is well positioned, and of course the investors will look for you. But if you don't have like a sound, you know, very strong strategy, it will be very hard, you know, even though that we can connect you with investors, the investors will like have the last decision to say yes, no. But again, it based on your strategy. And of course, there's a lot of questions, how can we improve the strategy? But to make it very practical, for instance, last year we talked like, how about we develop, or we help them to develop their strategy for their country, right? And then we use these kind of digital tools like the benchmark, right? That is very powerful to organize this. And then from that, we can create even further, more practical tours with the Zoom tour. Can you walk us a little bit on that based on the other experience that you have when you talk about promotion of investments, please?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's right. You need to obviously be strategic, but with Benchmark, for example, as Miguel said, I mean, you're going to be able to understand where you're performing well. So first of all, when you get those messages out, I mean, investors will look at that and they will understand that, okay, this is what this location has to offer. I'm going to consider them. I mean, we can offer you a list of investors through the Fdi Markets platform, but at the end of the day, if there's, I mean, you have to have something to offer afterwards and be ready to respond to what they're going to ask for. So the benchmark tool will help you identify your strengths, but also where you should improve. And then with the Zoom tour, it is essential, it is critical now to showcase your location online. Site selectors, we interview them sometimes at the Financial Times, and they want to have access to information because they can't go on site at the moment. And so by having that type of information online, it's really helping them to make an informed decision about what they want to do in your location. And then obviously they will get in touch with you to know more about how they can set up there. But again, as Miguel said, I mean, the use of tools like that is essential. And then the whole messaging around that has to be kind of ready as well.
Great. Then if you can like maybe scroll, help me too with the Q&A questions, so you can pick some of the questions that are more related to the tools. That would be great. If,
so
for instance, there are like some
why and
Zoom.
How to use Zoom if our website already has all of these abilities too. I mean, it is different from a website Zoom tour. It's a visual, it's a software as a service that is a visually, obviously the website is different because you're not presenting the data, the pictures, the 360 view, and all of the features that you have in Zoom Tour on a website. It's completely different. Also, the way you can share Zoom Tour on social media is so quick and easy. And the way you build it is the main thing, is that you can really adapt it on a day-to-day basis if you wanted to. It's real time. As long as you want, as you have the information in, you can just adapt it and edit as you go along. So it's really the flexibility of Zoom Tour that is quite unique in that sense. And the fact that anyone from your team can actually do that. You don't need any specific technical training to build your tour. You have the software and then you just follow the steps, click save, and your Zoom tour is ready. which is the beauty of it. And everything needs to be adapted now because everything changes so quickly in this digital world. So it really helps you to respond to the needs of investors. I'm checking other questions, Miguel.
There are some related with the cost as well in the chat and here, like how much this will cost.
So I think, I mean, this we can discuss on a call after, yeah, after the trials for sure. You've got your free trials and the Zoom tour call we can discuss, but if we take Zoom tour, it is an affordable cost. It's been designed for entities like yours. So I'm happy to discuss that with you, and my team will be happy to.
Yeah, and just for you to know, like we sent before an email, so you can actually access to these demos, and you can make schedule an appointment with Sarah and her team, and you can do that. And we will send actually another email, just a reminder of this as well, and all this commercial information you can be talking specifically with Sarah as well. And there's a lot of questions, just to be clear, and if you feel that we are not answering, but most of them are related to how can we get the investors and how can we improve our strategy, right? So I'm taking notes of this. We are saving all these chats as well. But for me, the main idea is like, there are different levels, right? One is from the country level, to have your strategy on place. And there are also some regions or cities that are in this call as well. We can help you to do that as well, but it depends of what do you have right now and what do you want to achieve. What is the vision? I was talking yesterday with some countries in the Caribbean, for instance, and they are asking the same question. How can we leverage these tools, and how can we develop these best mechanisms to bring more investors? And I answered the same question, the same answer. What is your value proposition, right? Because the investors will analyze that, and if we of course help you to strategize and to develop well this and formulate this strategy, will be good for everybody. I am personally excited about Southeast Asia because there is a lot of programs going on there. We are partnering with another firm that we will be announcing next month, that is focusing on green investments, for instance, and they are developing the first green bond hotels. So that will be a big opportunity for different countries in the Southeast Asia to apply to these new funding mechanisms to work in green investments as well. So we are going to, of course, to keep you posted on that as well. And then there's other facilities with IFC from the World Bank to develop these processes as well. So if you have specific questions about your investment strategy and how can we help you to facilitate that, you can just drop us an email and we can do that as well. Finally, if you have any other specific questions related to the platforms that Sarah was presenting, we appreciate it if you can write it in the Q&A questions, please. Trying to read other ones.
I also included
in the chat, there are several.
Yeah. Yeah, there are quite a lot of questions here. I think it would be good to maybe have another call altogether to answer all of those ones. But I mean, don't hesitate to get in touch by email as well, or by phone, because we can answer those questions, of course, as part of this partnership with UNWTO. So I put some links in the chat as reminders of the, Tiana is putting them. So if you want to ask for your trial and demo of Zoom tour, it's on the chat as well.
Yeah, then. Yeah, there are very specific questions, sometimes related to ecotourism or sustainability of local communities and heritage, and that perhaps are not part of this call. I'm afraid I will not answer those questions, but of course, everything else related with investments and how we can promote and related with the tools that you might have. You also might receive a Q&A kind of frequently asked questions that we already are compiling. You can clarify a lot of the questions that you might have, and we can send you that as well. But then if you have any other specific questions related to the platforms and Sarah, it would be great. This is your last chance to ask questions to Sarah live.
I can't see other questions, Miguel. So
yeah, maybe we can close it. Just one last message from my end. Again, just to be super clear, if you have any specific questions regarding your strategy, just drop me an email. The information is out there. I will be sending you with my colleague Ismail a follow-up email for the people who connected, and we'll be sending them the access to apply for and schedule a demo with Sarah. Sarah, you are with the last words.
Perfect. I mean, I'm actually answering one of the questions from Lynn,
Okay.
but please get in touch with me, Sarah Rassis, on LinkedIn or by email. Miguel will share my details as well. But again, I think it's the new normal is kind of becoming more digital, as we all know. We heard that a lot. The tools exist, they are there, and they are affordable. So I guess, I mean, it's a question of using them to your advantage. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with me, Miguel or myself. Thank you, and take care, all of you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time and always clarity. Appreciate it. And thank you everybody for participating. We'll be in touch very soon, and we'll be sending you another email about the other facilities with IFC in the near future. Thank you so much and take care.